finding a place to call home, finding the right e-commerce platform. To introduce myself, I'm Ben, the director of So Very Creative in Northampton. And in this session, we are going to have a look at a range of e-commerce platforms available to businesses looking to get online and start selling their products for the first time. Aims and objectives for this session, we are going to introduce some key players in the field of online retail. We're going to have a look and understand some of the key selling points and pros and cons of each of those solutions. Going to have a look at some of the options for e-commerce within social media, and then finally just get you thinking about some of the questions to help you work out which might be the right solution for you. In our previous session, we outlined some of the key functions that a well-performing website performs for our business, and that includes informing visitors, generating inquiries, hopefully selling products, but also possibly other calls to action as well, such as downloading resources or signing up to be a part of your email database and digital marketing funnel. There are lots of platforms available though to you to begin building this site, hopefully some of them just within a few clicks. So we are going to have a look at a number of platforms today and hopefully help you find something appropriate for your requirements. Today we're going to have a good look at three of the main names in the field, WordPress, Shopify and Squarespace. And then we're also going to highlight a few other key areas to consider as well. So the first platform we're going to have a look at is one called WordPress, which is a name some of you may be familiar with already. WordPress is an incredibly popular platform for websites and currently counts for over 25% of all websites that are online on the net use one of the two flavors of WordPress that's available to you. Now that's something I wanted to take a quick second to have a word about, because sometimes when people search for WordPress for the first time, it can be a little bit confusing. There are two versions of WordPress available. One is a very straightforward website-based tool where you go online and can create something fairly similar and akin to a blog that you may have seen online in a number of places. It's all built around a number of themes and gives you the option to customize and tailor that experience within just a few clicks. So it's something that's very straightforward and free and simple for businesses to get to grips with the first time. There is an alternative version of WordPress available, which is a little bit more involved from a technical point of view. Now, how this works is that WordPress is installed as kind of a base operating framework onto your server and is then customized via a whole range of third-party add-ons. So you can install and customize your own kind of visual themes to give you a particular look and style and visual identity that you want. And you can also add on your own range of custom functionality and operations for the site via what they call plugins, which are small discrete bits of code that you install onto the back end of your website through a very simple interface that allow you to add on some really great extra functionality for a fraction of the cost and time that it would take you to develop that functionality if someone was sat literally coding the web page line by line. And examples of that might be, a hair salon that's running online booking facility for their appointments. A lot of the e-commerce solutions themselves are run via plugins. So it's a way that you can build out the website very quickly and offer a whole range of different options and functionality and flexibility, again, with very low costs and with zero, in some cases, technical knowledge from your point of view as well. Now, there are a number of benefits and advantages to WordPress as a platform for businesses looking to get online and start building a platform for themselves for the first time. It's hugely flexible, it's very customizable, and gives you the ability to really fine-tune how the site and the information contained within it is presented. WordPress is a very, very functional platform in terms of making it really easy to get in, drill down, and make really specific changes that are just unavailable elsewhere. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. The other thing, as I alluded to, that WordPress does really well is give you the ability to add in custom functionality into the website in just a few clicks and make it really easy for you to offer some really clever functionality and some really powerful tools without any massive kind of cost and time investment from you. WordPress offers a really robust e-commerce ecosystem that is pretty much fully developed at this point, having been on the market now for over a decade. WordPress has got a great package that is fairly idiomatic at this point called WooCommerce, which we're going to have a look at in a moment. WordPress as a language for people to build websites within is what's known as open source. And as such is constantly improving and developing as developers work on the platform all over the world. As a result, it is something that is very quick to take advantage of new emerging technologies and will allow you to scale up the functionality of your site very quickly. And it's something that obviously means that because there's so many people working on WordPress around the world in different capacities, there is a massive network of resources, support, and ultimately developers available worldwide as well that will be able to kind of assist and help with any specific issues that people come up against. The other thing it does do, of course, is kind of future-proof yourself to some degree in terms of not tying you to a particular developer moving forward as well. Obviously, you know, back in the old days of the internet when websites were perhaps crafted in a slightly more custom, bespoke way, that meant that over time, the businesses that build websites that way were kind of tied to their developer, being as they were the only guys who really understood how the site worked and how to make changes and update it moving forward. Obviously, with WordPress being such a diverse ecosystem all over the world and with so many people kind of fluent within it, you know, there are innumerable agencies and developers that work within the language at the moment who will be able to kind of step in and assist you in the future if you decide you need to make a change as well. The other thing, as I've alluded to during a couple of these points, is that WordPress does offer a very low cost entry point for people that are looking to get into building a website for the first time. You know, as we say, when you kind of look at the bang for the buck, if you were to put it in those terms, yeah, WordPress offers a huge amount of customization and flexibility for businesses at what is a comparative steal. Now, WordPress does have, as I mentioned, a really good e-commerce platform kind of built specifically for use within it that you might have heard of called WooCommerce. WooCommerce has been around now a number of years, and as I say, it has become fairly idiomatic over the years in terms of being people's go-to solution for delivering very straightforward, very intuitive online commerce solutions into websites. In terms of its benefits for WordPress users, it's got a very fast install and configuration. You know, there are a range of options and things that you can change and play with within WooCommerce, but ultimately to get that core install in place and to get a shop up and on its feet and to start working within it can be a very fast and straightforward process. Woo gives you the ability to sell a whole range of items through the website as well. So both physical items linked to you, obviously boxing up an item and sending it in the mail, but also gives you the ability to sell different types of products through the website as well, like digital products. So if it's materials that people might want to download, like videos or worksheets for the sake of argument, or, you know, concert tickets and event tickets is another great way that you can utilize WooCommerce and sell kind of a non-tangible product at the same time. Woo is completely customizable, so you can change all the visual aspects of it to match the existing styling of your website and make sure that it kind of visually fits within the website seamlessly as well. And it's been built in a modular way, so Woo comes as kind of a base package with a certain amount of functionality built into it, but it does also give you the ability to add on specific pieces of functionality as required. So if, for instance, you wanted to add on a cart abandonment add-on, which would enable you to send emails to people who had got perhaps a certain part of the way through the process of buying something, but then left before completing the checkout process, then you can buy an add-on for that. Or if you wanted any range of additional services, from labeling and invoicing add-ons to ways of offering specific coupon codes and tax differences and stuff as well. It's a really useful little package in terms of being able to build a system that is really just for you and is fulfilling exactly the role that you want it to within the business. There's a range of ways that you can structure the site and the data within that online store that will enable you to make kind of maximum SEO impact. And with that in mind, I should say that the WooCommerce site does integrate really nicely with a whole range of other plugins within the WordPress ecosystem as well. Sometimes you can get conflicts between those plugins, as those codes, those sets of codes will have been written in isolation and sometimes conflict with each other. But to give an example that we've listed here, Yoast, which is a really powerful search engine optimization plugin for WordPress, integrates beautifully with WooCommerce as well, and gives you the ability to really specifically tailor how each page is set up within your store for SEO, and kind of optimize each individual product as much as you possibly can to hopefully mean your site, both individually on a product basis and as an overall kind of whole with all your products in there together, will hopefully be as competitive as they can be within search engine results as well. Now, there are some drawbacks to WordPress and Woo. As with any platform, it's not for everyone. WordPress does require a certain amount of technical knowledge and understanding, certainly on the self-hosted option, where a lot of that customization and tweaking will come down to you as the user. So it is something that's going to require either a little bit of technical knowledge going in, or the willingness to learn fairly quickly and take advantage of the kind of the resources and support that's available within that ecosystem as well. WordPress is something that's going to require some regular kind of maintenance and updates. WordPress itself, as well as the plugins that go into it and the themes that control how your site look, they'll all be updated from time to time, and things will technically change within there. And it's your job as the site owner to be in charge of keeping on top of those maintenance issues and those updates, to make sure that you're fixing any potential security issues as they crop up, making sure that your site is running the most updated versions of plugins to take advantage of new features that they might have, and fixing any issues that they might have in their operational code as well. So yeah, that is something that you're going to need to consider in terms of an added responsibility day to day moving forward. And that, as I say, things can crash sometimes. We talked a second ago about how plugins can sometimes conflict with each other. You're going to need to keep on top of updating sometimes. And so as a result, I won't lie to you, sometimes things will stop working, and you are going to need to spend a little bit of time investigating what's gone wrong and fixing the issue and stuff. So again, having either a little bit of technical knowledge yourself going in, or at least having the willingness and the confidence to be able to do a bit of research and try and troubleshoot some of those issues yourself, is also going to be a real thing that you're going to have to be wary of right from the off. There are some limited CMS capabilities out of the box that may require some initial work to access the full features. But otherwise, generally, WordPress is a fairly powerful content management system in terms of the kind of functions that it can run, and then how it works day to day. So yeah, while there are some limited capabilities, there are plugins and add-ons available freely and widely available within the WordPress ecosystem that will very quickly allow you to upgrade those capabilities and manage your data in a slightly different way. The other thing that I would flag up with WordPress is that there can be capacity issues for stores that are running particularly large inventories. We're going to look at some other sites and some other options for online commerce in a second that are perhaps slightly better dealt for dealing with larger inventories. But generally, as a rule of thumb, anything up to kind of a list of 1,000 SKUs is something that WordPress and Woo would generally be able to handle fairly well, even if it is something that is going to require a little bit more kind of hands-on work from you guys in the day-to-day. So WordPress, to surmise, generally is ideal for businesses with a good and growing product inventory. So if you've got, more than 10 products and you're looking to be adding more products to your inventory over time, then this could well be an ideal solution for you. It's ideal for businesses that are perhaps looking to add additional marketing capabilities. As we alluded to, Woo has got some excellent add-ons for retargeting, for cart abandonment and other strategies that can tie in different digital marketing touch points to really give you a really powerful kind of e-commerce solution. It's an option for businesses that are looking to develop an online store at a fairly low cost point with what is an intermediate level of setup and config. It's not something that you're going to have to spend days and days getting to work trying to deal with. And as I say, it's ideal for businesses that have got some technical skills in-house and who are crucially going to be able to commit to keeping on top of the maintenance and management of that site moving forward. So the next option that we're going to have a look at this morning is an option that, again, especially if you are a podcast consumer, you will have definitely heard the name of in recent years. This is a company called Squarespace. Now, Squarespace is an online platform that makes it very, very easy for businesses to begin building a website and publishing that website for the world. So, for instance, you can begin a trial with Squarespace without even entering your credit card. You can literally start to get to work getting a feel for their site and playing with the tools that are available to you there before you even put your credit card information in and start to actually pay for anything. Squarespace is a really useful low-cost entry point to the marketplace. You're in it rather than have to kind of pay up front for setting up things like hosting and development costs and stuff, which you would potentially on a WordPress solution. Squarespace enables you to just pay a really simple monthly low-cost fee. So it just becomes almost another direct debit that goes out of the bank every month that covers all of your website all under one bill. The system is a really useful no-code option. Everything is administered via a drag and drop editor. So it's very straightforward to move content around the page, to add content into the various sections of the website. And it's fairly straightforward to be able to customize and change the way that site looks as well. Squarespace have got a whole library of themes and some various sub-options within those themes to allow you to kind of add logos and change your own kind of fonts and colors and stuff in there. It's not as flexible a platform as WordPress when it comes to how you can customize that. But if you are someone perhaps that doesn't have a design background and is looking for a fairly guided experience through launching a website, it's ideal to be able to very easily find one of some really nice looking templates and begin kind of customizing that really easily. Crucially, for businesses that are perhaps getting into this area for the first time, the other great thing that Squarespace does is take care of all of the technical support side of things for you. So all of the security, the hosting, the content delivery stuff is all taken care of from Squarespace's end, meaning you don't have to worry about any of that kind of responsibility within your business. All of the payment processing is taken care of at Squarespace's end, so you're not having to kind of hold credit card information or process any of that personal data about your users. And it means that they're able to deliver you, mobile responsive websites that are technically really compliant and perform really well without you having to do any coding or technically intervene in the site at all. There are some drawbacks to the platform. It's to be clear. There are lots of kind of customization options available. Some of the more advanced work can be tricky to find. It's not the most intuitive of interfaces when you want to get into the real nitty-gritty of making changes within your site. And it's got to be noted right from the off that while there are, as I say, a library of themes and choices for how you can visually present the site, there are nothing like the options that are available within the WordPress ecosystem in terms of themes and styles and options that are available to you. At the same time, on the back end of things, while Squarespace does offer the same quote unquote plugin functionality as WordPress in terms of giving you the ability to add kind of bespoke bits of functionality on as you go along. Again, not only due to the amount of time that it's been around for, but also just the number of sites that are running Squarespace. The two ecosystems are really different in terms of size and scale. There aren't anything like as many developers working to put this kind of functionality together for Squarespace. A lot of it is coming from their own kind of internal development teams. So if you're looking for something that's got really bespoke custom bits of functionality, some of the examples we've used are like online bookings perhaps, then yeah, you might want to have a look at something like WordPress, where you've got a much greater range of options and plugins available to you than Squarespace, where it's a slightly smaller list to be working through. Now, in terms of who Squarespace is right for, as I say to you, for what is a very low cost kind of entry point, Squarespace is great as a first toe in the water, if you will, for small businesses and businesses that have perhaps got fairly small inventories of products that they're just starting to look to sell perhaps for the first time. As we mentioned, it's a very low cost entry point, but crucially, it's also something that businesses with very limited technical skills or graphic design background and skills will still be able to make use of. Back in the old days of the internet, when MySpace was still a thing, it was very obvious when you went to some MySpace profiles which had been put together by people who kind of knew what they were doing and which hadn't. There was some really lurid, terribly put together MySpace pages out there. But again, all of that is something you can completely sidestep with something like Squarespace that will literally kind of handhold you through the process of finding something that kind of visually matches up with the aesthetic you're looking to present for your business, and then give you the ability to make some slight changes to that and really hopefully tailor that a little bit more to your own eye. Ideal for businesses, as I say, starting out online for the first time, and also ideal for businesses with fairly limited knowledge of SEO, which is obviously such an important part of the puzzle in terms of businesses trying to be visible and get themselves in front of their potential clients. Squarespace does a lot of that for you, and is fairly well optimized in terms of how it presents your store and your data to Google. So yeah, it's quite a useful platform for businesses that don't really know how that all works, but actually still want to be as competitive as they can within search. Now, the third main platform we're going to have a look at today is one called Shopify, which again is a name that may be familiar to some of you. Shopify is an all-in-one solution, again, for businesses that want to create an online store, take payments, manage inventory. It's the same way that a lot of these online platforms operate. And it works in a similar way to Squarespace in that it's kind of an off-the-shelf package where a lot of elements of support are taken care of for you in-house within Shopify. So again, all of the security, data processing, hosting, technical support is all taken care of within Shopify to a large degree, meaning that it's quite a hands-off experience for you in terms of businesses getting set up and making use of it for the first time. It does offer a really powerful range of e-commerce tools for businesses. The first one being that obviously it's got different levels available to you depending on what your requirements are. So you can hopefully find a package that makes it relatively straightforward straightforward to find the right one for you. Again, monthly costs, so you can avoid having to pay large upfront development costs and keep something fairly straightforward. The site integrates with custom domains, as you'd expect with all of them, and you can very easily add your own domain and get the site up and running in just a few clicks. The other thing that Shopify does do really well is it's got an excellent drop shipping set of tools available for businesses that are operating a drop shipping model, and has also got a really great tool called POS, which enables you to integrate the stock system that's powering your website to real world brick and mortar locations as well. So if you've got stockists and distributors that are selling your product in the world, or you're going perhaps to events or pop-up shops or something like that, then again, this is a great way that you can keep on top of all of your inventory management and your order from one single place, whether it's within the website or whether it's going out kind of on in the world as well. Now, Shopify's got some really excellent SEO capabilities. It's another platform that is fairly well established and fairly idiomatic at this point. And as a result, obviously, you know, over the years, they've done a lot of work in terms of optimizing how the sites operate technically, and then also how they structure the data and present that as well. So from an SEO point of view, Shopify offers you a really good opportunity to hopefully be super visible within search results. They've got very robust security protocols in place, which obviously, as you'll take in customer data and payments and stuff, is going to be increasingly important, and make sure that your site stays online and stable and isn't falling foul to any malicious activity as you go. Shopify, I should say, has got a much better analytics package built into it than the option that's built into Squarespace, which, if I'm honest, is a little bit more limited in terms of the data that it captures and the information that it presents back to users. It's got great integrations with third-party platforms like emailing packages for doing things like abandoned cart emails, integrates seamlessly with CRM systems and stuff as well. So it's something that can really easily integrate with the kind of the wider tools that you're using as part of the digital marketing mix elsewhere within the business. The other thing it's really good at doing is capable of dealing with quite complex product sets. So where you've got products with perhaps multiple options, colors, variables, or really big inventories of products, kind of over 1,000 SKUs, then again, something like Shopify will offer you a slightly more scalable solution than something like Squarespace would. The other great thing that Shopify does, especially with the rise in how much online commerce is happening on mobile phones these days, is that it supports a range of payment types as well, including Apple Pay and Google Pay, which obviously, again, make it super easy for you guys to take payment from people from their handsets, and hopefully give you another way of maximizing sales and driving uptake when people are visiting your site as well. Obviously, again, there are drawbacks to the package, that goes without saying. It's slightly less customizable from a visual point of view. You know, you do sacrifice some of that enterprise level performance. You do unfortunately sacrifice some of the more bespoke, tailored ability to be able to change. There's slightly less themes, slightly less options and stuff for you to be able to kind of customize. Some of the key features are restricted to the upper levels of the pricing packages. As I mentioned, there are a number of different products available that you can take advantage of. Some of the more advanced features are restricted to the upper levels, and I won't lie, it can be expensive if you're going for the more expensive kind of couple of £100 a month package. So while I would say it's you know, definitely a really powerful, really functional package for you guys to potentially be building an e-commerce site onto, right from the off, I will note, yeah, it can be a more expensive option to deploy than something like Squarespace or WooCommerce would be. The other thing to mention is that email hosting isn't native to Shopify. So as such, if you want to be integrating email packages and sending those kind of cart abandonment emails and stuff. It's very straightforward to do so, but you do need to do so using third-party actions and support. So there will be kind of a degree of kind of technical intervention that either you'll need to tackle yourself or engage someone to do on your behalf, to integrate that email hosting and bring that functionality online to the site for you. The other thing to consider with Shopify, and I mentioned that it's ideal for businesses with large inventories. One problem that can create sometimes is that it's not the most straightforward of platforms to export from if you want to be moving the site to a different package later on down the line as well. So that is one thing to consider if you think there is potentially a situation maybe arising where you might want to move in the future. Ideally, this is well suited for businesses with large volumes of products to sell. So businesses with big inventories and large SKU lists. We're talking multiple thousands of items available, and generally lots of options, variables, and different factors going into it. It's ideal for businesses that are operating a dropship model, given that they've got custom tools and functionality that's been built in specifically to support that model. And it's ideal, if I'm completely honest, for businesses who are established online retailers that are already generating significant online sales every month. I would say certainly to start with, if businesses aren't generating, a decent amount of sales through the site from the off, then it will on paper look like a really expensive undertaking to begin with if you're paying £300 a month for Shopify, and that's generating £50 a month worth of sales. So it is something to be considered before kind of jumping onto. But again, like I say, businesses with kind of an established online presence that are looking to kind of improve their shop as it stands at the moment and maybe move to a more scalable, robust platform for the future, then yeah, Shopify could be a good option for you, even if it's one that will require some degree of in-house technical support, whether that be someone that's kind of in-house or a developer that you've got access to. Now, that's not to say that other platforms aren't available, and of course there are a number of other areas that you could be investigating. I always say to businesses that we're working with, to take the time to investigate a range of options and have a look at what might be the right package for you. Obviously, I thought it might be useful to just flag up a couple of other areas for businesses that are maybe starting to think about this kind of thing for the first time and look at their relative benefits and drawbacks. Obviously, one area that we haven't talked about today but has proven to become kind of an excellent first kind of toe in the water really for businesses in the online space has been Etsy over recent years, certainly particularly within the kind of the craft, arts, handmade items kind of field. Etsy's been a godsend for lots of small businesses that have been looking to reach customers and get their products sold for the first time. It's a really straightforward and intuitive sign-up process, very simple for businesses to begin creating their own stores, adding their own products and taking those orders. Very, very low cost in terms of initial investment from businesses that will need to sell on there. The other great thing about Etsy, of course, is that it's got a built-in ecosystem of users, almost with their own kind of social network built into the app itself as well. So it's a really engaged, really unique audience, I always think, Etsy, in terms of the kind of people that are on there. And like I say, there's a great kind of peer review mechanism within it to enable you to get customer reviews right from the off, and some really nice social integrations and stuff as well. So while it might not be suitable for a lot of large businesses, certainly for micro businesses and businesses looking to perhaps sell a small number of products for the first time, maybe in a particular niche, or maybe businesses that are just trying to establish kind of a side hustle or something, then that's not to say that Etsy wouldn't be a great place to have a look at. The other thing to consider, of course, is that we talked in our first session this morning about the benefits a website has over social media, but it's also important to remember that lots of social media networks have also lent into online commerce over recent years as well. And Facebook and Instagram, for two, are social networks where it's very easy for you as businesses to be able to sell your products direct to people within the app as well. Now, from a user and a business point of view, there's loads of great advantages to doing that. Obviously, for users, it's a familiar environment. Users will spend a lot of time in Facebook and Instagram and stuff, so they're kind of comfortable in that ecosystem already. It's got a massive instant built-in audience that is, attracting eyeballs 24/7 all over the world. So in terms of being a potential shop window to put your business in front of, then obviously it goes without saying that, having the products available for those people to buy is, going to be an important part of the puzzle for you. And it's really straightforward to get on with doing so. This is something that, again, is designed to be no code from a business point of view and enable you to instantly start selling products and generating revenue through the time that people are spending on your Facebook page and on your Instagram profile. Obviously, from a user point of view, the ability to buy stuff while you're just browsing Instagram is, really convenient, and as a result, especially tied into the fact that people can use things like Apple Pay and stuff and Google Pay to pay for these purchases using their phone as well. It becomes a really slick, really fast buying process for you to be walking users along. So by putting the steps in place to allow people to take advantage of that, then yeah, it's certainly a great way of increasing additional revenue for the business on the side of whatever's being generated through the website as well. The other thing, obviously, finally to consider about selling on Facebook and Instagram is that obviously both of those platforms have got absolutely enormous banks of user data that they've amassed over the years as well. So in terms of you being able to target and reach very specific groups of people in fairly large numbers, then again, Facebook and Instagram offer great opportunities for you as a business to do that. And like I say, if the particular post and stuff that you are promoting is linked to the ability for business for users to buy that product right there and then it provides you with a really active kind of channel of people to be pushing messaging into. Just to give you an example of that, one of our webinar hosts on the ongoing SMARTup project over the last few months is John, that runs the Brooklyn Brownie Company in Northampton. I've put up his website and Instagram side by side here, just for reference. Obviously, they're running a very successful online e-commerce solution on the left-hand side, but have been selling through Instagram for a couple of years now at the same time. And as part of a podcast interview that we did with John a few weeks ago, he shared that 40% now of his sales are coming direct within Instagram on a week-to-week basis. So you can see how, especially if you're putting the time in already to building engaged, active communities around places like your Instagram profile or your Facebook page, then absolutely take the extra step of making your products available for people to buy there, and it can become, yeah, a really big part of your monthly sales really quickly. Final solution I wanted to mention is a name that some of you may have come across before, by the name of Magento. Magento is a really powerful kind of enterprise level solution, ideal for companies with very large, kind of constantly updating inventory. So particularly ones that are linking their website inventory to lots of kind of real world point of sale systems and kind of customers around the world. So it's one that offers some really powerful kind of inventory management tools for businesses. Again, ideal for product sets with massive numbers of SKUs, lots of variables and options and stuff, and does come with really good kind of analytics and customer intelligence built into it as well. The only thing I would kind of advise with Magento is that it's another one that does require, again, a certain amount of technical knowledge and understanding, certainly, to get it set up and to make the most of it on a month-to-month basis going forward as well. It's also not the most cost-efficient platform to be working with as well. So if you're a business that currently isn't, holding large inventory or doesn't have a lot of items for sale, you're a business that isn't generating massive amounts of online sales at the moment, then this potentially isn't going to be the platform for you. But if you are a business, like I say, with a much larger inventory, looking to grow and potentially look for more of the kind of the functional inventory management efficiencies as well day to day, then yeah, Magento can be a really interesting option to have a look at as well. And finally, just a note to say, obviously, there is always going to be something of a life cycle that businesses will go on with their online e-commerce stuff. It's very common for businesses to kind of outgrow their existing solutions and find that within a couple of years, actually, what was working really well for them at the start actually has become operationally more of a hassle, perhaps as the business has scaled and orders and stuff have increased, and they're perhaps just looking to do more in terms of their kind of digital marketing of the shop and driving traffic more actively as well. So with that in mind, we always say to people, try and future-proof yourself as much as you can. Have a think about where you'd like the business to be in 18 months time from now and how that will actually look day to day from an operational point of view, because quite often that can be a really instructive guide in terms of finding out what might be the right solution for you, and actually avoid some of the issues of trying to move and migrate solutions 6, 12, 18 months down the line, and yeah, hopefully make that journey that you go on as straightforward as possible. Always say to people to spend some time exploring the options and the potential pros and cons of any solution that you are interested in taking up. As we've alluded to, things like Squarespace and stuff make it very straightforward for you to undergo free trial, to get your hands on the tools and physically see how they work day to day before having to put a huge amount in the way of kind of time and energy into that solution. So be sure to take the time to investigate, spend a bit of time perhaps with your staff, with your developers, understanding how these packages would potentially integrate into your business, and how you'd be able to potentially get the most out of them.